An unidentified man in the local town kidnaps people and demands them to take one of the 2 pills that he offers. The pills look identical, but the killer claims that only one is poisonous. When a victim chooses a pill, the killer takes the remaining one. The victims always die after swallowing the tablet with water. How does the killer manage to get the safe pill every time? The poison is not in the pills but in the glass of water that the victim drinks. Accused of stealing the farmer's chickens, Jack is locked up in an empty room in the local jail. His cell has a dirt floor and is completely void of any accessories except for a shovel. There is a window overlooking the hills outside. Jack is determined to break out and prove his innocence, but the window is too high to reach. How can he escape? Note that digging a tunnel is not a feasible option because the ground beneath the dirt is rock hard. Jack doesn't have the energy to dig through it as he is deprived of food and water. Jack needs to use the shovel to make a pile of dirt that helps him reach the window. He can then climb on the pile and easily escape the cell. A woman named Kathy goes to the police claiming that someone broke into her house and stole her diamond bracelet while she was at work. The policemen investigate the crime scene and notice that the bedroom window is broken. There are muddy footprints all across the bedroom floor. However, the room is otherwise neat and organized. The following day, Kathy is arrested for fraud. Can you figure out why? Kathy was convicted of fraud because the bedroom window was broken from the inside. If somebody had broken in from the outside, there would have been glass pieces on the bedroom floor. Also, the room was perfectly tidy, which means the so-called thief didn't search for items and knew exactly where the bracelet was. An elderly woman lived alone in her house by the suburbs. She rarely left the house and knew only a few people. One Friday morning, the mailman called out for the woman but didn't receive a prompt answer as usual. Upon peeking in through the window, the mailman realized that the woman was murdered. The police investigated the house and found Tuesday's newspaper by the dead body. Also, by the door outside, there were 3 unopened bottles of milk, one of which had gone bad. The police arrested the killer the very next day. How did they figure out so quickly? The mailman killed the old woman because the newspapers for Wednesday and Thursday weren't found in or outside the house. This means he knew there would be no one to read them. Amy goes to her friend, Maria's house, on a wintry evening only to find her dead. When the police learn about the incident, they question Amy how she found out. Amy says that she knocked on the door and rang the bell repeatedly. Since the light was on in one of the rooms, Amy knew Maria must be home and decided to look through the window. The windows were frozen, so she breathed on the iced glass, and that's when she noticed Maria's body on the floor. The police suspect Amy is the murderer. Are they correct? Or is it just one of those riddles with no definite answer? Amy can't possibly get a clear view of the room from outside. This is because it's hard to unfreeze an iced glass by breathing, as its opposite surface is usually icy too. A renowned chemist is found dead in his lab. There is no clear evidence except a piece of paper lying by the body. The paper is blank other than the name of 5 elements scrawled across it hastily. Nickel, carbon, oxygen, lanthanum. Sulfur. The guard reported that 3 people visited the chemist that day: his sister, Linnea, his colleague, Nicholas, and his wife, Teresa. The criminal was arrested immediately. Who was it? The list of chemicals had a clue. Their abbreviations spell out the murderer's name, Nicholas. The science teacher at Jefferson High School is murdered on the first day of the academic year. The police narrow down the suspects to 4 members of the school: the gardener, the coach, the math teacher, and the principal. However, they all have alibis. The gardener says he was trimming the bushes. The coach says he was playing basketball. The math teacher says he was conducting a mid-year test. The principal says he was in a meeting. The police had no trouble in arresting the person guilty of the crime. Who do you think was the murderer? The police arrested the math teacher because, apparently, he was taking a mid-year test on the first day of school.